Ladies and gentlemen, we just have 5 more minutes, and then after that, each group representative will come in front, and then they will discuss their challenges and their potential solutions. So we will start in 5 minutes. The group activity is ended, and now I would request each of the participant from the group to come and present their findings, like what they have discussed and what are the challenges and potential solutions. So first, sir, please come.
Hello, hello.
I'm fine. I'm fine with this. आपकी राइटिंग कैसी है? Assalamu everyone. Apologize for the poor writing skills that you just saw. Sorry, that's not my strong point. I'm usually a banker. All right. Uh, Unusual for a group of bankers, we've opted to start with the sugar industry. So, if I go wireless data, Assam over. Just one sec, please. Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Sure. All right, great. Okay. Which would be slightly unusual for a group of bankers. We actually opted for the sugar industry because, quite frankly, I didn't think there was much I could have come up with in my current line of work. So the sugar industry is actually pretty straightforward and a bit complicated, as you will see. As you will see, we'll just start with the chain. Usually, it starts at the end of the grower, where we've got a local manufacturers who are farmers who are basically growing the sugarcane in their fields, both large and small. In most cases, because the growing areas tend to be dominated by a single or maybe a couple of sugar producers, they would opt to sell off their product directly to one of those units or maybe through a middleman. Usually, it's often direct. So they would transport the product to the crushing plant where they would be paid for their production, usually at a government set rate, although that's often under dispute, but that's not really the topic of conversation here, so we don't need to go dwell on that right now. All right. The crushing plant would basically crush the uh, raw sugarcane and extract sugarcane juices, which are then which go through a multitude of processes, and in the end become the sugar that we end up using in our daily lives, and some examples of which you can actually see on the table right over there on that side, if you would open them on the packets. Right now, this is pretty simple, but there are some other extremes, offshoots here as well. There are some byproducts in this industry. For example, when I'm crushing uh, sugar, I would end up generating bagasse, which is basically the leftover sugarcane after the juice has been extracted. I can actually sell that off, and I can actually use that to produce more energy via a specific bioenergy plant, which would be fine-tuned to extract energy from bagasse. This is one use that I have. The second option I have, that when I'm producing sugar and I'm generating steam, I could install a steam turbine and I can actually use that steam to generate the steam to extract even more energy. This is just basically me reducing my offtake and maximizing the use of whatever uh, excess energy I'm burning instead of actually letting it go to waste. Now, the final product, sugar, you're already aware of what that's used for, but I have a couple of other options as well. I can basically, these days, the molasses, which is again another byproduct, can be used in ethanol distillery to produce ethanol, which is exported and has a significant demand, mostly overseas. Ethanol is actually has multiple uses. It's used in the food industry, pharmaceuticals, chemicals, as well as a specific biofuel. Now you'd be wondering, where exactly and what am I saving energy here? Let's go on scope one. Scope one is use of fuel. I'm using fuel when I'm transporting, when the grower transports the sugarcane crop to the plant, and vice versa when I transport the same outward. Bagasse consumption. The bagasse that I use, instead of letting it go to waste, I would basically process in bioenergy. Then there's the water processes effluent treatment. Instead of letting the contaminated water go out, I would treat it so that the same does not negatively affect the environment. This is me generating, trying to make the process as pollution free and as clean as possible. Scope through to import the electricity. This is something and use of electricity. This is something I'm countering by a bioenergy plant where I'm using the crushed bagasse that I have to sort of reduce my reliance on imported energy. Same for the steam turbine. I'm cutting my energy use as much as I can and trying to generate as much energy internally as I can. Scope 3 is, of course, the ethanol, which is again a biofuel, and subsequent transport of my final product to the end consumer or buyer, whichever the case that may be. All right. The challenges you face: limited control over grower activities. For example, the grower might be using rather inefficient processes to produce a sugar. I would normally, as a manufacturer, not have control over that. And that's something where significant carbon credits and significant energy savings can be done provided the processes are more efficient. However, when we have small producers with little or no knowledge, little or no resources, then obviously the processes would have a degree of inefficiency attached to them. How could you actually solve that? The grower activity would be regulated by the relevant ministry, which would be climate change, food, science and technology, whichever may apply. But my point is that the whole process should start at the end of the grower. If you would expect the industrialists to handle that, I don't think that would be their forte. That is something that the relevant government agencies have to handle from inception. Second, lack of incentives. As a manufacturer, do I really have an incentive to save energy other than the cost that I'm cutting when I actually, instead of using expensive electricity, I generate my own? Again, as one of our panel attendees pointed out, that mostly while certain measures that appear to be a saving of energy are being taken, they're mostly being taken to cut down costs rather than actually preserve the environment. Now, the problem is that while we will come out with occasional government announcements that XYZ measure be taken to conserve the environment, etc., there's more of a stick approach rather than the carrot. What positive reasons do I have to take these measures? What am I being offered to actually ensure that I work towards protecting the environment? Do I have any positive measures being offered by the government? I mean, it should be more carrot and less stick. Right now, it's just stick and no carrot at all. That's what I'm trying to say. Right. So, in a nutshell, that's my presentation. If you have any comments, I'm available, and I hope I was able to cover the topic effectively.
Thank you very much. I would request everyone to just be brief for just 1 minute and just highlight your challenge and your potential solution. And yes, anyone who can volunteer.
Industry first, then we'll go to renewable industry. So we already have this on the board. So if you could just be a little brief and also highlight what you think about the carbon markets in the recent
एक्चुअली हमने जो इंडस्ट्री सेट की वो केमिकल इंडस्ट्री है, और केमिकल इंडस्ट्री में जो मेजर जो इमिशन की जो सोर्स है वो इसको वन इमिशन है, वो नेचुरल गैस है। तो हमने जो फोकस किया है वो बेसिकली जो हमें इसकी रिडक्शन वो है इसकी स्कोप 3 इमिशंस पे, क्योंकि अगर हम देखते हैं तो रॉ मटेरियल की जो इंपोर्ट है वो नॉर्मली जो वो हो रही है वो सऊदी अरेबिया या मिडिल ईस्ट के साइड से हो रही है। तो हमने ये एक पॉइंट आइडेंटिफाई किया कि अगर वही इंपोर्ट हम अपने नेबरिंग कंट्रीज से करें या लाइक इंडिया से करें तो जो कॉस्ट सेविंग है वो पॉइंट प्लस एमिशन रिडक्शन हम अचीव कर सकते हैं। इसके अलावा जो हमें एक और जो नजर आया चैलेंज वो ये है कि कोई हमें अगर गवर्नमेंट साइड कोई इंसेंटिव अगर दे रही है तो वो हम उसको अवेल करें। इसके अलावा जो मेजर कॉस्ट है वो ये है कि लैंड यूज के हवाले से एक कॉस्ट है। अगर हम रिन्यूएबल पे जा रहे हैं तो एक लैंड यूज जो है उसकी कॉस्ट भी इम्पैक्ट कर रही है। इसके अलावा जो मेन इशू है वो है डेटा ट्रांसपेरेंसी का, क्योंकि नॉर्मली जो इंडस्ट्री फोकस करती हैं वो करती हैं आपके जीएचजी इमिशंस के ऊपर, जो कि आपका रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी से लिंक कर रहा है। वो फाइनेंस इमिशन को इग्नोर कर देती हैं। तो फाइनेंस इमिशन क्योंकि लिंक कर रहा है डेटा ट्रांसपेरेंसी से, तो मोस्टली कंपनी क्या करती हैं कि वो जो है वो डेटा हाइड कर देती हैं या टैक्सेशन से बचने के लिए। तो डेटा ट्रांसपेरेंसी का एक पॉइंट बहुत इसमें इंपॉर्टेंट है। अगर जस्ट लाइक डिफरेंट जो फ्रेमवर्क लाइक आईएफआरएस है, जीआईआई रिपोर्टिंग है, अगर इनकी इंटीग्रेशन होती है प्रॉपरली तो एक तो जो डेटा की जो ट्रांसपेरेंसी है वो बेहतर होगी और जो फाइनेंस इमिशन है वो प्रॉपरली इसमें अकाउंट हो जाएंगी। रिगार्डिंग कार्बन मार्केट्स जो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज वो ये है वो इसकी अकाउंटिंग का है कि जो कंपनीज अगर अपनी प्रॉपर अकाउंटिंग करती हैं, अब अकाउंटिंग की तरफ जो जाना है वो बहुत एक तरह से एक बहुत मुश्किल स्टेप है। तो उसके लिए जो अगर हम वीसीएम को वॉलंटरली कार्बन मार्केट की तरफ जाएं, जस्ट लाइक अभी IFRS का स्टैंडर्ड आया है सस्टेनेबिलिटी का, S1 S2। उन्होंने क्या किया, पहले तो इस S1 की जो है वो रिपोर्टिंग का कहा है, देन वो S2 पे कह रहे हैं। इसी तरह GRI स्टैंडर्ड है, वो अभी तक जो है वो वॉलंटरली बेसिस पर है। अगर यही मेथडोलॉजी BCM की हम जो है वो यूज करते हैं, पहले वॉलंटरी मार्केट को जो स्टैंडर्ड लेकर आए, एक तरह से कंपनी जो है वो यूज टू हो जाए, देन अगर कंप्लायंस की तरफ हम मूव करेंगे तो एक तो ये कि जो स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं इनका जो है वो ट्रस्ट भी डेवलप होगा, और इसके साथ साथ जो जो उसके रिजल्ट हैं वो हमें मिलेंगे, और जो ग्रीन वॉशिंग है उसको हम अवॉइड कर पाएंगे। थैंक यू।
Thank you. Who is the next one, please? Yes, please.